Some groundbreaking news from Toyota. The company, which has always been at the forefront of the automotive industry, is working on a revolutionary new car that could change how we think about transportation forever. Toyota's CEO recently introduced an incredible innovation, a vehicle that runs on water. Yes, you heard that right. No gas, electricity, just water. So, how does it work? Toyota's new engine is based on hydrogen technology, which means it uses hydrogen as fuel, and the only thing it releases into the air is water vapor. No harmful emissions. This is a huge step forward in the fight against climate change and air pollution. Toyota sold more cars in 2023 than ever, but electric vehicles had a relatively small impact on its growth. Out of the 11,233,039 vehicles delivered by the Japanese conglomerate, only about 104,000 were electric vehicles. Generally, 0.926% of the cars sold by Toyota and other automobile companies like Lexus last year were battery EVs. Considering that, the company reckons there's still a need for combustion engines. The company chairman believes people should have a choice rather than be forced to buy electric vehicles. At a recent event in Japan, Toyota's executive vice president Hiroki Nakajima and other top leaders shared their vision for the future. They talked about different ways the company is working to make transportation cleaner and more efficient. One of their key goals is to develop eco-friendly cars, and they're focusing on two leading technologies: electric cars, BEVs, and hydrogen-powered cars. During a speech delivered to an audience of 200 corporate managers and executives, Chairman Akio Toyoda confirmed their ongoing commitment to a major engine development project. This statement reinforces his announcement at the 2024 Tokyo Auto Salon, where he boldly declared that Toyota would continue to innovate in engine technology. Toyota didn't shy away from making bold predictions either, confidently stating that Elon Musk will crap his pants when he sees our new motor. So, what makes this new motor so special? Let's examine its features and discover what sets it apart. Hydrogen cars use a hydrogen fuel cell system. Here's how it works. Inside the vehicle, hydrogen from a tank reacts with oxygen from the air. This reaction generates electricity, which powers the car's engine. The only thing that comes out of the exhaust is water vapor. No harmful gases, no pollution. However, Toyota has gone even further with this new engine. Instead of needing a massive tank to store hydrogen, their system uses a process called electrolysis to produce hydrogen on the go. The car takes in water, splits it into hydrogen and oxygen using electricity, and then uses that hydrogen to run the engine. It's a very efficient and clean process. Plus, you don't have to worry about storing large amounts of hydrogen since it's produced as needed. This makes the motor lighter and more efficient, making it a great step forward for cleaner transportation. However, the motor needs some special changes to run on hydrogen instead of gasoline or diesel. One of the biggest modifications is to the fuel injectors. These parts spray fuel into the engine so it can burn and make the motor move. Since hydrogen is a different fuel, the injectors need to be adapted to spray it in a way that works best with the engine. But that's not all. Other parts of the engine need to be upgraded too. For example, the engine block and cylinder head, which contain the pressure from the fuel, have to be made stronger. Hydrogen operates at a much higher pressure than gasoline, so these parts need to be built tougher. The motor also needs special valves and spark plugs to run smoothly and safely. Even with these changes, the motor provides significant environmental benefits. One of the biggest advantages is that it produces almost zero emissions. Traditional engines release harmful pollutants into the air, such as carbon dioxide, nitrogen oxides, and particulate matter. These pollutants harm human health and the environment. But with this hydrogen-powered motor, none of that is a problem. Not only is this motor environmentally friendly, but it's also practical and economical. Instead of refueling at a gas station with gasoline or diesel, this motor only needs water to keep going. Water is much cheaper, more widely available, and easier to source than gasoline, which means that it's not only better for the environment and lighter on your wallet. On top of that, it reduces our need for petroleum, which involves harmful extraction processes that damage the earth. By relying less on petroleum, the motor also helps to reduce the use of fossil fuels in everyday transportation. Fossil fuels significantly contribute to greenhouse gas emissions, which cause climate change. By shifting to this new type of motor, we can help slow down climate change and move toward a more sustainable future. Another benefit of this technology is that it helps reduce the extraction of rare metals. Rare metals are used in many modern technologies, like electronics and renewable energy systems. However, mining for these metals can be highly harmful to the environment. It can pollute soil, water, and air, and even cause health issues for nearby communities. Toyota's motor could help minimize these environmental and human risks by reducing the need for these rare metals. What makes Toyota's water-powered motor stand out from other hydrogen technologies, like hydrogen fuel cell vehicles, FCVs, is that storing water is much easier than storing hydrogen. Hydrogen is a gas that must be stored in heavy, high-pressure tanks, which can be expensive and even dangerous if they leak. On the other hand, water is much safer and easier to store since it's a liquid. It doesn't require special tanks, and there's no need for high-pressure systems, making the process more practical and safer. Because of these advantages, this motor has the potential to be used in a wide variety of applications, from small cars to large trucks and even in power plants. Its simplicity and safety make it a much more viable option than other market engines. Beyond technology itself, this motor could revolutionize the transportation sector. It can help us rely less on fossil fuels, reduce harmful emissions, and contribute to a cleaner, more sustainable future. Since the motor uses water as fuel and produces no harmful pollutants or greenhouse gases, it's a game changer in the fight against climate change. The motor is a sustainable option for transportation and energy generation, representing a significant step forward in technology and environmental sustainability. This motor's ability to use water as fuel makes it unique. This means it doesn't produce harmful pollutants or greenhouse gases like traditional engines, making it a cleaner, more environmentally friendly alternative. This innovation is essential because it's an impressive technological achievement and shows that we can prioritize environmental concerns without compromising on performance. The motor is a great example of how science and engineering can create solutions that benefit both people and the planet. The technology behind the motor also makes it more efficient and practical. Its design is more straightforward and requires less maintenance than traditional engines, which means it can be used in various applications, from small cars to big trucks and even power plants. The versatility and sustainability of this motor make it a far better option than traditional motors. It's a perfect example of how we don't have to choose between progress and environmental protection. We can have both. This motor has the potential to be a game changer for the automotive industry. It could inspire the industry to reinvent itself, focusing on sustainable, high-performance vehicles that don't harm the environment. For years, the industry has focused on making cars faster, more powerful, and more luxurious, but not necessarily eco-friendlier. Toyota's water-powered motor shows that it's possible to create cars that offer high performance and environmental sustainability. Interestingly, Toyota isn't the first company to try building a car that runs on water. In 2008, a Japanese company called Genepax made headlines when it claimed to have developed a car that could run on water instead of gasoline or diesel. This was a big deal because it promised cheaper, eco-friendlier ways to power cars. Genepax said they had developed a unique system that could extract energy from water, which would then be used to run the car. They called it a water-fueled car. The system split water molecules into hydrogen and oxygen, using the hydrogen as fuel. However, experts took a closer look and found that the system wasn't exactly what it seemed. Some believed the car used metal hydride to generate electricity, not just water. This meant the car wasn't genuinely running on water alone. There was much skepticism around Genepax's claims. The company never provided solid scientific evidence to back them up, which led to criticism from scientists and competitors. For example, some scientists pointed out that, based on the laws of physics, it's impossible to get energy from water alone. Water is a very stable substance, with strong bonds holding its hydrogen and oxygen atoms together. It takes significant energy to break these bonds, so the idea that water alone could power a car seemed unrealistic to many experts. Despite the controversy surrounding Genepax's claims, Toyota's advancements in hydrogen technology are real and backed by science. Their water-powered motor offers a practical, sustainable, and efficient alternative that could revolutionize the automotive industry and how we think about energy. Think of it like trying to break a strong stick. You must use force to snap it in two. Scientists explained this about water. It's the most stable form of hydrogen and oxygen, so you can't extract energy by turning water into something else. The energy is already stored in the water molecules, and it takes more energy to break them apart than you'd get back from the process. Many ideas for cars that run on water rely on electrolysis, a process that involves splitting water into hydrogen and oxygen, and then combining these elements again to release energy. But there's a fundamental issue with this approach. The first law of thermodynamics states that the energy required to split water molecules will always be the same as the energy released when combined. In other words, there's no net gain. The second law of thermodynamics makes the situation even worse. It tells us that some energy is always wasted whenever it is converted from one form to another. This means that even if you succeed in splitting and recombining water molecules, you'll always get less usable energy than you started with. This is why extracting energy from water alone, without any external power source, isn't feasible. Some critics have pointed to the controversial story of Stanley Meyer, who gained attention in the 1980s for claiming he had invented a dune buggy that could run on water. Meyer's explanations for how this invention worked were inconsistent and vague. He said he had sometimes replaced the vehicle's spark plugs with a water splitter. At other times, he described a fuel cell that could split water into hydrogen and oxygen, supposedly using electrical resonance to achieve this. The hydrogen would then be burned in the engine to generate energy. While this sounded revolutionary, Meyer never provided solid, independent evidence to support his claims. His story eventually ended in scandal when, in 1996, an Ohio court found him guilty of fraud, deeming his claims false and misleading. Critics argued that Generapax was following Stanley Meyer's footsteps, using grand claims about water-powered cars without the science to back them up. Interestingly, Stanley Meyer wasn't the only one to make such claims before Toyota. In 2002, a company called Hydrogen Technology Applications made waves with a device they developed that could split water into hydrogen and oxygen gases. They called this device Aquigen. Initially, the company intended to market the technology as a safer alternative to oxyacetylene welding. However, they soon started making bolder claims, suggesting that their device could power a car using only water. The company's founder, Dennis Klein, developed complex theories to explain how the technology worked, involving concepts like magnis and magnes, terms that weren't supported by scientific evidence. Klein even claimed they were discussing using their technology in Hummers with a major car manufacturer and the US government, promising a major shift in how cars would be powered. Excitement grew, but so did skepticism. Over time, it became clear that these claims were likely overstated. Hydrogen Technology Applications no longer claims that its device can run a car solely on water. Instead, it markets itself as a way to make cars more fuel efficient, using the Aquigen technology to enhance hydrogen fuel. This approach doesn't eliminate the need for gasoline, but could reduce its consumption. Similarly, in 2002, another company called Genesis World Energy made headlines with an announcement. They claimed to have developed a device that could extract energy from water by splitting it into its constituent elements. Still, like many other such claims, it needed to stand up to scientific scrutiny. In 2008, the same year that Generapax made its surprising announcement, a man named Tushara Priyaldasinghe in Sri Lanka claimed to have driven a car powered by water for 190 miles, using just 3 liters, or 3.3 imperial pints. He explained that the vehicle utilized the unique technology that splits water into hydrogen and oxygen, then burned the engine to produce energy. This claim was hailed as a fantastic breakthrough, and even Ratnasari Wickramanayake, the Prime Minister of Sri Lanka then, was so impressed that he offered his full support to bring this technology to the market. However, as time passed, things didn't quite add up. A few months later, Tushara was arrested on suspicion of fraud, as his claims seemed exaggerated. Like many before him, Tushara appeared to be scamming investors, fueling skepticism around water-powered cars. You'd think the lies ended in 2008, but there have been more recent claims. For instance, just 2 years ago, an Indonesian inventor named Arianto Misil claimed to have developed an Akuba device, which could transform water into hydrogen fuel and power motorcycles. Even more astonishing, Arianto claimed his device could travel an incredible 500 kilometers on just 1 liter of water. Such a breakthrough could have revolutionized how people viewed transportation and energy, especially after many false promises. In July of the same year, Arianto made another bold statement. He claimed that major automotive giants like Lamborghini, Ducati, and Ferrari were interested in his invention. He also stated that he would sell his device to foreign companies for a staggering 15 billion rupiah. At the same time, he expressed frustration with the Indonesian government and the National Research and Innovation Agency, claiming they had sabotaged his efforts. While the reasons behind the supposed rift became unclear, it was evident that Arianto was determined to push forward, even if it meant going against the establishment. However, the scientific community in Indonesia was highly skeptical of Arianto's claims. Scientists from the National Research and Innovation Agency stated that his device was theoretically impossible, contradicting fundamental laws of physics and chemistry. They also revealed that the Italian automakers Arianto claimed were interested in his technology had no genuine interest. Instead, his meetings with their partners were likely just courtesies, not genuine expressions of interest. This raised serious doubts about the validity of Arianto's claims, casting a shadow over whether Nakuba was indeed the revolutionary invention he portrayed it to be. Despite its initial buzz, Genapax hasn't been heard from much since its 2008 announcement. There's been no clear indication whether it's still working on its water-fueled car idea or has shelved the project. On the other hand, Toyota continues to focus on its hydrogen fuel cell technology. As the car industry rapidly shifts towards cleaner technologies, and with growing competition from new electric vehicle manufacturers in China, such as BYD and Xiaomi, Toyota is determined to stay ahead. In fact, Toyota is not just focusing on regular cars, but also expanding its operations in Europe, under the name Hydrogen Factory Europe, aiming to bring hydrogen technology to heavy-duty transportation, like trucks, buses, and even trains. Toyota's Mirai, their hydrogen-powered car, has already been mass-produced, but the company is pushing further. They are working on improving their fuel cell technology, making it more efficient, durable, and cost-effective. Toyota plans to roll out an updated fuel cell system by 2026, which will be able to travel 20% farther than the current models and cost 30% less. This could mark a significant breakthrough in the search for alternative fuels that don't harm the environment. Toyota's commitment to hydrogen fuel cell technology shows there is still much to explore beyond electric vehicles. With hydrogen, there's potential for more environmentally friendly transportation and energy solutions. Toyota's water-powered motor, although still in development, represents a bold step toward a cleaner, more sustainable future. The journey with the water-powered motor is just beginning. While there's still much work to be done, Toyota's progress in this field could set a new standard in the automotive industry, combining high performance with environmental responsibility. If successful, this innovation could reshape the future of transportation.